Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All right, I went live earlier and my phone died, and I just wanted to finish a couple of my thoughts, right? On IG. When the old heads always used to say, well, I won't say always used to say, but one of the old head sayings is the greatest trick the greatest lie the devil ever told was convincing people he didn't exist, right? Now, I think we at a point in excuse me in history where we quite aware of his existence. I don't think nobody denied it. I don't even think the God body people deny that, right? I don't even think they deny that the devil exists, but they might not they might not um they might not give him the props for the power that he has. Go back downstairs. I'll be down in a little bit. For the power that he has. But yeah, they know he exists. So I don't want to spend a lot of time, right? Because I know we got a short attention span, but basically, we accepted this whole idea that we accepted this whole idea that boyfriends and girlfriends are the optimal or best way to continue this thing we call this relationship, the ideal relationship, so we could continue mankind procreation, right? And that involves dating. You shouldn't have a baby with you shouldn't marry nobody that you didn't live with for at least xyz 6 months, a year. You know what I'm saying? So now we got a time where we went from not dating at all to having a protocol of, oh, you should date like this, to just being, "Oh, I'm a savage," you know what I'm saying? Imma just do whatever I wanna do, right? And we'll say that procreation is no longer the having babies or, being parents, that's no longer the goal, that's primal, right? "Oh, that's just for animals, even animals have babies. I don't exist just to have babies, just to be a mom, I'm more than that." Meanwhile, we still having a lot of babies. There's a lot of babies being had, right? And we in a situation where we are seeing everybody has heard the statistic of 80% of the what they say 100% of the women want 20% of the men, right? We already heard, we all know that statistic, but then we also probably heard the statistic that 80% of the women are having babies by 20% of the men, right? So it becomes a situation where we got more than half, about 60% of black men are not are childless and unmarried, right? But then when you look at the media, when we look at social media, when we look at all these different things, we see that, oh, black dads just walk out of their child's lives, right? Not taking into consideration that a lot of these women have babies by 3, 4, 5 dudes, right? You know, and I heard something earlier when a woman was saying like, "Oh yeah, the problem why women are angry and we disappointed is because men cheat so much." Now the response was, "Well, every time a man cheat, for lack of better words, is pussy on the other end of that, right?" Meaning that they cheating with women. So so no matter how you slice it, right? You have majority of the women that are having multiple baby fathers are having them by the same group of men. You know what I'm saying? So the whole red pill scene has created this term called pookies. They call them pookies, right? I don't like the term. Think is I think it's I'm gonna go on a tangent for a little bit. I think it's a way for incels to take a jab at the men who have greater success with women, right? Because I got the bravado, because I got the swag, basically, and I got everything that they're looking for besides the bag. besides the stability, I got access to the women that you want. So now you're gonna go on a podcast and call me a pookie. That's what I see. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these dudes that's saying it, you could tell they not it. You know what I'm saying? They not the ones that women are going out, and we know that because a lot of them don't have kids or they married. So we know for sure they're not getting chosen. You know what I'm saying? And women out here choosing. Y'all know y'all out here choosing for real, for real. We don't really do much. We sit back and wait to be chosen. You feel me? And that's the rest is up to y'all. So when y'all say that, oh, men out here doing, they cheat. That's all y'all know. Y'all dogs. That's all y'all know how to do is cheat. It takes two to tango, baby. You know what I'm saying? I can't cheat without a winning participant. You know what I'm saying? And we're not gonna sit here and pretend that most of the women ain't, giving up them cheeks, regardless of a man's situation. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not. This not that was a tangent. I'm not here to just say, "Oh, it's the whole thing is women's fault," right? Because you very much are going to have a group of men that take advantage of this agenda, right? Now, what agenda am I speaking of? The agenda is agenda by the West, America in general, right? I'm gonna say America is definitely at the forefront of this, where they are pushing this whole agenda that you should date before you consider marriage, and they also pushing this whole agenda of, people gonna get mad at this, my body, my choice, and it very much perpetuates a system of I could have babies. I could be reckless about who I choose to have a child with, so that I could be selective about who I marry. You feel what I'm saying? It's like I don't want to get married because I don't want to get divorced, right? And that's part of the trick is to make divorce seem like it's the worst thing in the world. Like, oh, you damaged goods if you divorced, right? And you'll see that kind of being played out in older TV shows, like where if a woman was divorced, it was the rat for her. And it's still like that in certain communities. But how much if you lose value by being divorced, how much more value do you lose when you bring these children into the world who don't have the basic right of knowing who their father is? Now in Islam, we got answers to all of this. It's the right of the child. So in Islam, you get rights, right? Your right in Islam means that it's owed to you. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times you'll hear people like Kevin Samuels will say, "Oh, the world don't owe you nothing," right? And in a liberal sense, that's true. You know what I'm saying? In a hegemony sense, that's true. The world don't owe you nothing. But when it comes to Islam, no, Islam gonna say, yeah, the world owe you a lot. And you have to be knowledgeable so that you can get what's owed to you. For women, that's honor, right? And how do we honor the women? We honor the women by marrying them, right? We honor the woman by marrying them. How does that honor a woman? You know what I'm saying? Oh, a lot of people want to say, oh, they ain't just a benefit for the men. I mean, for the women, it's benefit for the woman. I mean, for the men. We gotta do this, we gotta do this. All the responsibility fall on us. Da, 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 da. Let's look at the historical concept of it, right? Like not the whole. We're not gonna go into a whole drag it out why marriage is for women, right? But essentially, marriage is for women because let's look at biblical times, right? We know that the Bible that Isa alayhi salam came from where Palestine, right? And we know that most of the prophets came from Palestine, Syria, over there, like Middle East and Africa, Ethiopia, Egypt, all these different places. These are where the prophets came from. These are some of the harshest places to live, right? Now, one of the things I mentioned on the live that got cut short was that it's this concept of ice people and sun people, right? Now, I ain't gonna go in too deep into it, but I'm gonna just give you a brief thing of what the ice people and sun people. The sun people love from abundance. You know what I'm saying? They master agriculture, so they got, all of the vegetables they need. They got water, they got sunlight, which, you know what I'm saying, which they can convert the sunlight into energy. They can convert the sunlight into fruit, which gives you energy. They can harvest animals. They got so much stuff that they don't have this scarcity mindset where it's like, this is mine, I gotta have it and don't touch it. Whereas though the ice people is the opposite of that, right? If you come from a tundra or a place where where things are scarce, right? Or either like, and you do have things that may be in abundance, like let's say a reindeer, for example, but that's hard to catch. You know what I'm saying? That's hard to catch. So even if you do catch, you know what I mean, catch that, reindeer, and you could break down that bread for a minute, you're not really wanting to share too much because it could run out. And it runs out all the time. Some of the toughest animals live in very cold climates and mountains, snow leopards, stuff like that, which I mentioned. Now, you have a scarcity mindset, you want to keep everything to yourself, right? Now look at monogamy that way, right? Monogamy is like, I only really could afford to take care of one woman. If I want to have kids, I only really could take care of this one woman and those kids. So I gotta defend that, you know what I'm saying, tooth and nail, because we don't got no burgers to spare. You know what I'm saying? We don't got no broccolis to spare. So I'm gonna defend that. And outsiders beware. Whereas though if you come from abundance, you got fruit growing from trees, you know, you got the Adam and Eve life. You know what I'm saying? You live in paradise. You know what I'm saying? Oh, hey neighbor, have some of this milk and honey. You know what I'm saying? That's why they call it the land of milk and honey, baby. You know what I'm saying? Have some of this. So come on, come over. Everybody come over, sit down, enjoy, pull up a chair. Let's talk. Let's chill. We got time. You know what I'm saying? We got nothing but time, baby. You know what I'm saying? We gonna kick back. We gonna have some tea. You know what I'm saying? We cultivating, we drying leaves, cultivating them, breaking them up, and having tea. That's when you really made it. When you got time and resources to put in stuff like cultivating tea, you know what I'm saying? Shout out the Indians. You know what I'm saying? You got you abundant. You don't have to be, you don't have to hoard and be scarce, right? So a man is more likely to be able to take care of many women. Now, because you got abundance, don't mean that everything is sweet. It ain't sweet. You still live in, some desert climates and stuff like that. So the Quran is the only book that restricted men from marrying more than four women. And any other religious text, you can marry as many as you want, whether that's the Bible, the Quran, I mean not the Quran, the Bible, the what's the Indian John, the Gita, I forget what it's called, right? You can marry as many women as you want, as long as you can take care of them, right? Now, and even so, even it wasn't even no clause. So a lot of women just got kind of left the wayside. Now, and if you're a woman and you pregnant for 9 months, you can't be pulling water up out of a well, even if you got access to water, or going to the edge of the water and you dealing with crocodile and like, you know what I'm saying? You can't take those risks because you put the baby at risk, right? So now you'll benefit from having that protect and provide. That's what we always hear, right? Protect and provide. Oh, we gotta protect and provide. We gotta protect and provide. Yeah. So my bad, y'all. I ain't even see what was going on here. Encourage you. Okay. Yeah. So we gotta protect and provide. That's why we always hear that because that's what it's about. I'm providing you food. I'm providing you safety. I'm providing you. We providing each other. We providing each other safety because that's what we'll look at. Men get safety from women as well, and we get the safety of knowing, right? Anxiety. What's anxiety? Anxiety is the fear of not knowing the future, right? Depression is regret from the past. Anxiety is the fear of not knowing the future. So women give us protection from, knowing that, my child is safe, my home is safe. You know what I'm saying? I got a safe place to sow my seed. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Sow my seed, right? Um, I ain't got to come back up with that itch. You feel me? Now it's a lot of security in that. And even outside of it's just even outside of getting that itch scratch, it's a lot more that you know what I'm saying? Once you secure those resources, if you want to go and get more, you can't just be, you know what I'm saying, just stashing it, burying it in the sand, hoping it's going to be there when you get back. So that's why you have a family. You know what I'm saying? You raise up little soldiers, which we neglecting to do right now. You raise up your little soldiers, y'all can produce more. You know what I'm saying? And that's why polygyny is such a good thing because you could produce. You know what I'm saying? The example that I gave before was like if you a man, right? If you a human being, just not even 1,000 years ago, let's say 60 years ago, your wealth is in your family. You know what I'm saying? We've we've begun to look at wealth as in being how much paper money you can get your hands on, but that's nothing. It's just paper. You feel me? You can't do really much with paper. If the economy tank, all that paper is worthless. That's why you see, you ever think about it like that? Why the rich got so much and they still want so much more? Like, how can a multi-billionaire consider being a trillionaire and we got all these problems in the world, right? You ever wonder that? It's because it ain't about the paper money. They know that paper money ain't, it's about the resources. So you get a person like Bill Gates who owns over 40% of the producing farmlands in America, right? Which should be illegal, but it's not, because the reason that they lobby and go in for, what I mean, put in for different legislation and all of this is because we need to establish resources. We need farmland because we want to manipulate the food for number one, because he believe in depopulation. We also need places that we bunker. You know what I'm saying? You look at the type of bunkers the wealthy is building. They know that their money can't protect them. And there's actually a video going viral right now where they called in one of these top financial boards that's kind of a guru in tech, and they like, yo, what's the what's the deal in the tech industry? We need to learn, you know what I'm saying? Like, once it get bad, they know it's gonna get bad. How can we protect our, you know, resources using technology? Because they don't even want to trust their henchmen. And they like, listen, he might listen to me now when I got that bread, but once that bread worthless, how I'm gonna keep him in check? He just knocked me upside my head. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Especially because we done given over we handed the world over to weak men. That's the problem we really having in the world. Like, a lot of people talk about, oh, what I mean, violence and men are violent. No, that's not the problem with the world. Fight the patriarchy. Fight it. Fight the power. That's not the problem in the world. The problem is that we have weak men in power. Because look at it like this, right? Back then, we seen movies like the 300 and Sparta. We seen movie where, like, what's the bull, my man Achilles. That was a good movie, Gladiator, stuff like that. I forget the joint Troy. Troy, like, men had to be strong, right? But then they started to implement the Senate. Once the Senate came in, what was they? They was all weak little twerps, right? Little weak white men, right? And the reason that the reason that they was all twerps, I don't say the reason, but the reason that they were so conniving is because they knew that they didn't have the strength to take power. So they had to use their brains to take the power. So while strong men was putting their son raising warriors, the weak men was raising thinkers. You know what I'm saying? They was raising thinkers. They like, yeah, look, we gonna trick them out of this bag, right? And that brings us back to what we going through now with the Rockefellers and everything, right? They done tricked us into believing that dating is the key because they don't want you to secure the bag by having a big, strong family, which is really the wealth. Because if the ish hit the fan tomorrow, right? Let's say AMZN, the ticker, right? Let's say that crash, right? Where we gonna get our toilet paper? Where we gonna get, like we can go buy 100 rolls right now, but eventually what? It runs out. You know what I'm saying? At some point we gonna be reusing the rag to wash our behinds, right? Now, what happened if the water companies stop cleaning the water? Then what? Ain't no wells. Yeah, most of us don't got no well. We could just walk mosey on down to and crank up a bucket and get something to drink. Most of us don't have that. Most of us don't have fruit that we got growing or herbs that we have growing for medicine. Won't have herbs that we grow to even nourish our bodies. We don't have vegetables. We don't control none of that. So that's the whole thing about having a big family and your wealth and your family. Because if you have if you want, let's say a man want 12 kids. Well, one wife, that's a lot for one wife that had 12 kids. Most of her life, she gonna be pregnant. You know what I'm saying? You have one kid, you get 10 months out of her to raise that kid. You know what I'm saying? You in another 2 months, you have another one. If all your kids are, let's say, a year apart, you asking a woman to be pregnant for 13 years, basically. That's a lot. And then not only to be pregnant for that long, but no recovery stage. Like her body is not her body no more. We all talk about my body, my choice, right? If we want to procreate and not keep, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how to say it in a PC way, but getting rid of our offspring using medicine to get rid of our offspring, we asking a lot, right? From one woman. But if we spread that over four women, which Islam allows, now you're only pregnant for three, three pregnancies, and you boom, you in there. Now, instead of having a family of 12 plus 2, 14, you got a family of 12 plus 5, which is 17, which makes a big difference when you growing, you know what I'm saying? You raising animals, you growing food, you procuring water. It was this episode. I used to watch that survival, one of the survival joints. Boy, a other scene, he was like, "Yeah, we gotta procure water." But that's important though. Like in any survival situation, if you can't get water, it's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? You might as well throw in the towel. So even if you can get water in a scenario like that, how you gonna protect it? You know what I'm saying? That's where the kids come in. That's where the family structure come in. That's where having more wives. Now, let's get back to the financial aspect of it, right? The higher ups, they've been giving you, you know what I mean, the elite, they've been feeding you this whole thing of you gotta date, you gotta, kiss. They basically telling you go out there and kiss as many frogs as you can, and eventually you're gonna find your Prince Charming. But how many women that we know, whether it's our moms, whether it's our aunts, whether it's our how many we know that never found Prince Charming, right? And that's sad. It ain't they probably don't care, but think about why we starting over every generation. Like, you know what I'm saying? You like your security and your wealth is in your family. So if, let's say your man cheat, quote unquote, which is a corny word, which is a nonsensical word. Your man cheat and you leave him, and then you take the baby, you'll have one kid, and now nobody else doing. Let's say you have five kids by five different men. They don't, you know what I'm saying? You got your 5 kids, but now because there's no financial stronghold, but when you die, they got to start over. They got to start over. And then those kids, if they fall into the same cycle, which statistics show that they will, they got to start all over. So every generation we starting over, we starting over, we starting over. And that's because we put so much hope into monogamy that we can't even fathom the idea that this is not the right. This is in the grand scheme of history, monogamy has never it's never worked. It probably worked when we was coming out of slavery for the simple fact that the the amount of women always outranked the amount of men, right? But then you had a balance to where though we had so much work to do that if 10% of the women decided to be like a Ida B. Wells, it didn't hurt it didn't hurt the community because it actually only helped because we had so much work that needed to be done. So everybody could have one husband and it not turn into a situation where, I mean, it still happened where, dad had families across town and stuff like that, but it didn't hurt the society in a sense where it was such an abundance of women that it was actually difficult to have monogamy because every woman wanted the man, and it just wasn't a woman for every it wasn't a man for every woman. You know what I'm saying? And we live in those times now. And I know y'all done heard the statistics, but if you look at, homosexuality, look at the prison rate, you look at the level of poverty, men living below poverty, or people in general living below poverty. It's just that I mean, like take a campus, for example, right? Like Howard University, right? When I met my wife, Howard University was 1 to 12. It's 12 women for every one. I didn't go Howard. She went to Howard. I went to Cheney. Shout out to Cheney. It was 12 women for every man, right? And it's in DC. So I don't even gotta tell y'all what's, what I'm saying. DC been the capital for rainbows for a long time. So that even made it closer to being like 18 to 1, which is crazy, right? In a situation like that, even if every man took 4, wives, it still will be an abundance of women. They still gonna be trying to get, you know what I'm saying? Get they itch scratched. And I'm not trying to make it seem like marriage is just like this thing where you just is only for sex, but let's just look at it the way that it is. That's how the world that we live in right now, we've bought into this idea that it's all about the sex. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the sex. So, I mean, that's basically what I wanted to say, that we have to give up. I don't want to say give up on the idea, but that we have to start to consider the fact that monogamy is a trick, right? You could date somebody for 10 years, you get married for 1 year and be divorced, right? And you never really truly know a person. And it's always going to be hard. Marriage is hard, just like dating is hard. The only difference is you taking the time to make sure that this person has all of the qualities that you can build on. It has the foundation that you can build on, and then y'all deciding to stick through it. Polygyny only helps that because now where you have a man that's capable of taking on more than one, because let's just look at it from a basic lens. Even if we have, let's say, even if it's only, let's just consider is two women for every one man, just looking at the numbers. And let's consider that with alternative lifestyles. Let's say that. Let's say with alternative lifestyles, let's say on the low end, let's say now that takes it from 4 to 1, right? Which I know it doesn't. It takes it all the way up to like 8, but let's just say 4. Let's say it's 4 women for every one man. Now let's take into consideration incarceration. Let's just say that takes it to 5 to 1. You know what I'm saying? Now let's take into consideration the men that can actually afford to take care of more than one woman. You know what I'm saying? That right there alone, the average black man in America is only making, I think, 50 something thousand, 52,000. No, no, sorry. The average man in America makes 52,000. Average white man in America makes 52,000. The average black man in America make like 41,000 or something like that. So we have to consider that you need at least, I'm gonna say you had to make at least 100 grand to take care of 2 women. You know what I'm saying? Probably more, depending on where you live. You know what I'm saying? But a place like Philly, where I'm from, yeah, you need like probably like 120. And that's not even because but Philly is the biggest, poorest city in the country, right? So you would think that you would be able to find women that realize, that understand the situation in Philly, and like, listen, it's better for me to set my children up. I mean, even though it's probably better to move, but if you want to stay in Philly, it's better for me to set my children up by choosing a man, especially Muslim women, right? Because this is my message. Really, is to get through to Muslim women who are so entrenched in Western culture. I don't say women, Muslims that are so entrenched in Western culture that they blur the lines between religion and culture. And to recognize that these things that we taught in Western education are the antithesis to the solution. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us want to date. We think dating is a good way. Yeah, because if I date, I really get to know them. I can test drive the car, and everything will just work out. But that's what Americans do, and is over 50%, well over 50%. So why do we still look at us like, imagine if you had to get a surgery and they told you, oh, the survival of the surgery, I mean the chance of the surgery ending in death, or some type of debilitation, is 54%. But you don't absolutely need the surgery. It's just, you know what I'm saying? You still gonna do that surgery? Right. Because 52% is crazy. And then you look at people who took the surgery and they had probably an equal chance, but because they followed this regimen over here, that the chance at this other hospital where they follow a different protocol is getting bad. It's getting bad, but it's still not quite there. Why would you choose the un-Islamic way over the Islamic way? You know what I'm saying? I don't even understand why non-Muslims would choose to do it that way. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like we got the blueprint for everything. You know what I'm saying? Dating don't work. Look at how many people online right now complaining about, dating not working. But to each his own. We bought into this whole cap of I ain't even get on to the whole topic, boyfriends. Like we put so much emphasis on these relationships. Oh, I'd rather just have a boyfriend. I just want to have a boyfriend. I just want to have a girlfriend. The word itself tell you that it's a setup because we want people, especially as adults that's of marriageable age. We looking at it like, oh, we want this person to be responsible. We want this person to be intelligent. We want these people to be to have great accountability, great emotional intelligence. We want all these different things, and we expecting to get that in a boy for number one. But then we only giving him the responsibility of a friend. Which one of your friends do you get 100% of your needs from, or even 50% of your needs from? I think if any of your friends leaning on you for more than 50% of your of their needs, that's a lot. That's a lot, but we make an exception because it's our boyfriend or our girlfriend. But look at any other relationship any other relationship that we nurture or we get into and that we flat water. Why are we putting so much emphasis on boyfriend girlfriend relationship, but not a lot of emphasis on being a parent? You know what I'm saying? Because just having a baby by your boyfriend is bad enough, but it's a boyfriend that you didn't see fit for marriage. It's not like you know what I'm saying. Oh, they had all of the qualities of marriage. I just wasn't ready. You'll never hear a woman say that. Oh, he had all the qualities of a great husband. I just wasn't ready, and then we had a baby, and then I don't know why it didn't work out. You never hear that. But what about a parent? If your mom was leaning on you for more than 50% of her needs, you wouldn't tolerate that. And that's what we talk. That's why these relationships not working. We got too much at stake. We too invested in boyfriends and girlfriends. Like, but that's all I wanted to say. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to the Muslims. Everybody else, peace.